I just want to welcome everybody today and thank you for joining us. Just as a reminder, we'll stick around at the end of the call if anybody has any questions or comments or just wants to talk to us. We'll also be giving some instructions on some upcoming shifts that we're going to be making into a new platform, which is very similar to our other one, but it is a little more user-friendly. So I'm going to turn it over to Jyoti, and I'm in chat if anybody has any questions.
Perfect. Well, we really do have a lot of exciting things on the horizon the next week or two. I'm excited for you guys to get on your special landing page for all of our offerings. But today we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to get into the body, just kind of like my favorite thing. So I am primarily a movement-based teacher, and I really integrate mindfulness into movement-based practices. And these first 4 to 5 weeks that we've spent with you, we've really kind of laid the foundations of mindfulness. And today we're going to do some really simple invitation to move in the body. It's seated, it's nothing that's complicated. It's just an invitation for us to take some of these foundations of mindfulness and apply them to how we're experiencing life in the body. And if we think about it, you know, our body was really our first language. You know, if you think about if you had children or if you've been around children, before they have language, they use their body to communicate things. So it's very clear if you're around a child that's not yet verbal, when they have a need or when they're experiencing an emotion, we can see that being physically expressed. And then I even think as an adult, you know, I think of several weeks ago when I got an exciting phone call for a new job offer. I'm like, I could feel my heart rate like pumping and I was a little shaky. And that was that experience of like joyful excitement. It was very physical. I think of when my father passed away 3.5 years ago, and that experience of grief was deeply physical. Like I felt the grief in my bones. And then I think of the first time like I saw my children when they came into the world, and that love that washes over you. I mean, it's like a tidal wave of this physical experience of love. So we all understand what it's like to have an embodied experience of sensation. But what is it like to be in relationship with the body and just the everyday moments of life? And how can we bring more mindful awareness into those moments, so that we're starting to notice some of the subtlety that's happening all the time, but that maybe is just enough in the background that we ignore it. So we're going to spend about 7 or 8 minutes dropping into a short physical practice. So I would like to invite you staying in a comfortable seat, but just maybe slide forward on your seat a little bit so that you're not like lounging, but you have a little bit more of an alert quality in the spine. And then you can find just a nice resting place for your hands. And I often like to offer, if you're feeling a little untethered, you might place the palms down on your lap, just a sense of sort of grounding and stability. If you're feeling like you're really open and receptive, then you might have the palms up, just a very gentle gesture of receiving. And then let's close the eyes and start to just kind of drop into the experience of the body. And I would invite you to see if you could locate where you're experiencing the breath inside of the body in this moment. And for some of us, we feel the breath in the belly. For some of us, we feel it more in the chest. For some of us, it's more in the throat or even around the face as it enters and exits through the nose or the mouth. And without really changing too much at all, I would invite you to let your right ear start to drop towards your right shoulder. So your right ear just gets heavy and it starts to descend towards that right shoulder. You can keep your eyes closed for this practice, or if it feels more familiar to you to open them, you can. You could also keep them closed, but if you get confused, you can blink them open. Keeping your right ear to your right shoulder, take your left arm and extend it out to the side so that your left wrist, elbow, and shoulder are in a straight line. And then start to gently pull your left fingertips back. So you're like flexing your palm back, and feel some sensation on the inner palm, the inner wrist. And if you're left-handed, this might actually be pretty intense. And then maybe just let the whole left arm float back like an inch or two. And just see if that experience moves up the inner arm or if it changes anyway. Just kind of notice what's happening there. And then bring that left arm back to center. Bring the left hand back to your lap. And then very slowly, just let your head come back to center. Close the eyes if they were open, and just see if you can notice any differences in the left and the right sides of the neck. Maybe the left shoulder feels a little bit lower than the right. And then let's start to take that on the second side. So take the left ear, and it just, like there's a weight that's sort of attached. It starts to slowly drop over. And you might just enjoy just seeing what's here. And then when you're ready, you have that invitation to extend the right arm out to the side, creating that straight line from the fingertips to your shoulder joint. And for me, like I already have experience of sensation just here. And so I'm just noticing what's coming up. And then I might envision like someone that's very friendly or that loves me kind of coming and taking my fingertips and just gently pulling them back. And if this is your dominant hand, just notice, does this side of the body feel different than the other? Maybe letting that right arm float back an inch or two. And for me, now this brings this up, and I feel it a bit in my bicep, a little bit in my pectoral muscles. And then let the arm come back to center, bring it back to the lap. And then slowly let the head drift back up to center. And just noticing maybe now the sides of the neck and the shoulders feel a little bit more equal. But maybe there's also just a little bit more spaciousness in the neck. Beautiful. Let's inhale, opening the eyes. Let's sweep the arms out and up. Just take like a full body stretch, almost like you're waking up in the morning. And then imagine that there's something kind of just out of reach, maybe like up on a shelf that you really want, and you start to reach with your right hand, like, ooh, maybe I can get it with my right hand. Nope, I'm gonna have to go with my left, switch and reach to the left. Do that one more time, reaching to the right, like you're almost lifting out of the sides of your waist that gets so compressed, lift to the left. Beautiful. Now come to center. See if you can keep the arms nice and long, but re-invite that softness in the shoulders and the sides of the neck. Ah, there we go. Good. Many of you got that. Let's take this into a twist. So starting to twist to your right, take your left hand to your right knee, and then just take your right hand just wherever is kind of comfortably behind you. It could be a chair, it could be on the back of a chair, and just kind of take the spine and twist a little bit around. And this is a good opportunity, kind of thinking to yourself, okay, when's the last time I had to get a little bit flexible with my thinking? I had to come up with a different way to do something. And then look forward, start to unwind your spine. And then we're going to do a little bit of spinal breathing before we twist on the other side. So let's lift the hands. And my friend Sid likes to say, close your hands as if you were holding a baby bird in your hands. So you've closed the hands, but it's not this tight fist. There's a softness. As you inhale, open the elbows wide, bring your heart forward and like flexing your spine. This is almost like that red light, green light we did with Jess a few weeks ago. And then as you exhale, close and round yourself like you're coming into like a turtle in its shell. Inhale, opening up. We're going to do about 10 rounds of this. And exhale, close. We call this spinal cord breathing. This is a beautiful way to bring in renewed oxygenated breath into the spine. Just keep moving with your breath. And, you know, if you're looking at the screen and you're thinking, oh gosh, I'm opposite of my friends, it's okay. As long as you're moving with your breath, you're listening to your own mindful intuition here. And close. We'll take about 3 more of these. Sometimes my head even comes into it. I sort of look up on the inhale And then I look down on the exhale. 2 more. And we start to see that we already have this innate ability to be flexible, to kind of be adaptable and resilient, that's built into how our body is structured. Let's come back up to center. Just find a nice neutral place for the spine. Bring your hands back alongside you, and we'll set up for that spinal twist on the second side. So inhale, lengthen your arms out and up. And then you take your right hand to your left knee or your left leg, and then your left arm comes behind you. It could be on the back of your chair or even on your seat, and you gently propel your spine around. Sometimes you get, I call them yoga Rice Krispies. They're like snap, crackle, pops that happen in the spine very naturally. And then slowly unwinding, come back to center. Find that nice resting place for your hands. Close your eyes. We're going to take about 30 seconds here. And as you drop into the experience of the body, noticing if anything has shifted just in the last like 6 minutes of this very simple mindful movement. Maybe you're experiencing a little bit more ease in the body. Or maybe that movement really highlighted some areas of tenderness in the body that now you know you need to be a little bit more kind and careful with for the rest of the day. And so it's invited a sense of soft compassion with the body. And then let's take a little bit of a bigger breath, starting to become aware of your external surroundings. And as you're ready, you can blink open the eyes, starting to prepare to shift kind of back into your day, but maybe with just a little bit of, you know, I often say, like, we're not the physical body. Like, this is like the house we get to travel in while we're here. But it's really nice to have a good relationship with your house. It makes it a lot more easeful time. And sometimes just simple movements like that, either you're become aware of like, wow, my body is magnificent and it feels great to be in it. Or sometimes you become more aware of areas that are not feeling great, and they invite you to have a little bit more tenderness with yourself as opposed to just push, push, push. So I would really encourage you. This is something I do. I'm at my desk a lot these days. I do it 3 to 4 times a day, just that 5 to 6 minutes of really simple movement. And we can do more of these different kinds of movements in the weeks to come. But yeah, I'd love to open this up if there's anything you want to share or that you found interesting about. Today was really the first time we were in the body together. So if there's anything that came up for you.
So first time doing yoga in a chair for me. It was good.
Good. It's nice to see that we often have ideas about where we're allowed to do yoga or where we're allowed to do mindfulness. And it's nice to see that these practices can really meet us wherever we are. You can do it in a car, you know, thoughtfully, of course, but there's certain things you can do wherever you are. Yeah, great point, Sai. Thank you for bringing that up. Jennifer, I saw you unmuted. Was there anything you had to share?
Yeah, so when we were doing this one with the curling, I got a little lightheaded.
Yeah, that's a great noticing for your body, and might just be something that you kind of watch curiously, particularly if you do that a few times in the day. Notice it. Does that happen every time that you do it? Is it something maybe accompanied with a time of the day, or you know, have you eaten recently? Have you been drinking enough water? All of those things, when we start to invite that fullness of breath, the body can really communicate back to us. So that could be a really nice opening point for you to watch the body and how that unfolds.
Jennifer, you please watch your blood pressure too, young lady.
Yes, great point, Mr. Joseph. How was that for you, Peggy? I see a beautiful smile on your face.
Yes, I felt my back rib that's out for sure. But I also felt as though I was breathing much easier as I went along. At first, it was a little bit, there's some resistance to my breathing. But with this motion, I actually could breathe a lot more fully, I think. And so I think I got a little lightheaded too, Jennifer. So, yeah,
Beautiful.
that's good.
I will say too, always when you experience lightheadedness, one of the simplest things you can do is just keep the head a little bit more still. So you can still keep the movement in the spine and still focus on the breath, but kind of resist lifting the head up and down as much. And that can sometimes dissipate any of those more extreme sensations that come up. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, I'd love to know if this is more of something you'd like us to integrate through the weeks, some simple movement practices like this. We can continue to kind of stagger that in with, this is mindfulness too. Yeah.
Right.
Well, yes, Jenny, please.
I like this integration. It's fantastic. And something I like is that the brain is able to shut off a little bit. And there's no sort of, the body is what the body is. So there's no reasoning that your brain is trying to do while you're doing the practice. It's just like noticing, as opposed to, oh, well, that's not tight. That part isn't tight, right? There's none of that, where sometimes it's a little bit harder just to calm down the brain if you're just trying to quiet this. I think the integration of the movement really helps focus and center and ground. That was my experience anyway. But yeah, loved it. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. You can see the smart 4-year-old's got a Rice Krispie while we were doing our movement. She knows exactly when to raid the pantry. Yes. Well, we will hang out and we'll make sure that we accompany, I have a couple of seated accessible practices. We'll make sure we include at least one of those in the follow-up email for you all today to continue to explore. Yeah.
Jyoti, I have to say thank you to listening to you and going through that exercise. I have to compose one of the most difficult emails I've done professionally right after I hang out with you. So it's a special gift since I know how you teach. But if I didn't have it, I think the email would not be as polished as I want it to be. So thanks for helping me through that. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you.
Bye, Joe. Gretchen, did you want to kind of give them a quick heads up of what's to come?
Yes, so this time next week, we are going to be meeting. The class is going to be accessed through a new landing page that is private, just to your company. We're putting together some playlists and some coursework. So taking all that information and all the practices that we have on our other platform and customizing it for your group. And what you'll see is we're going to have each week that we meet, the recorded version will be there and any supplemental practices will be there. So it's a little bit easier, user-friendly for you to navigate through it. So I would just ask you to keep an eye out for an email from me with instructions on how to access that account. And, maybe give yourself a few extra minutes between now and between getting my email and next Tuesday. So that way, you know that you can get in there. What you'll find is a live link, and we'll probably attach even a tutorial as to how to access that. So any questions, we're here to walk you through the process and the transition. It should be extremely simple, and it should be a much more user-friendly process for you. So we're excited to showcase it.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. Jessica will guide us next week, but we'll all be back together. The new platform is beautiful. I look forward to seeing you all there.
Thanks,
Thanks so
everyone.
Thank
much.
you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.